is headstrong and will not take fucking bullshit from people, then call me a fucking bitch, because that's what I am. If it means that you don't sit idly by and let people talk bad about you and let people do shit to you and try to undermine you, then call me a bitch, because that's what I am. If it means that I'm fucking strong and I'm fucking strong and I'm fucking amazing at what I do and I'm fucking just incredibly knowing about who I am and what I am, etc., then call me a bitch. That's what I am. So if people want to call me a bitch, or they want to call me an asshole, they want to call me a jerk, they want to call me names, it really doesn't matter what they call me. All that matters is what I know about myself and the people who love me, and that's really all I care about. However, when it crosses the line from being about opinion to being more about lies and defamation and slander and all that kind of stuff, and libel as well, that is where that's where the line gets crossed for me. So, I'm always really nice to people. I'm always really kind and respectful until they're disrespectful to me. And even beyond that point, I will just ignore them until they get to the point where I have no choice but to respond. And now I will be forced to obliterate these people legally because they are crossing the line. So I'm giving them a couple weeks to tire down and see if they behave themselves. And if they don't, I'm moving forward. I've already got the attorney on retainer for other stuff I'm dealing with right now. So it's not a big deal to have him go ahead and deal with this as well. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. It's hard out here for a bitch. I am fine to have that title. So maybe I'll just change my name to bitch and be done with it because I think it's a good thing. And, I think most people are so hung up on what people think of them. I've talked about this before on my blogs and other things as well, but people are so concerned with how other people perceive them. And that is incredibly stupid. I mean, the main reason being because you can never make everyone happy. It's just impossible to do that. The world is too diverse and too filled with different kinds of people, etc., for you to ever make everyone happy or everyone like you. Worrying about people liking you, other than those that are close to you, is completely a complete waste of time. And so the only thing you need to worry about is to be the best person you can be. And as I said, to have introspection and look inside yourself and to worry about who you are and how you affect the world and what differences you're making in the world, if any. Those are the things you need to concern yourself with, not the things that people think of you and lies and slander. Only the things that you yourself can control, which is who you are, how you act, and what difference you're making in the world. And, it's a waste of time to worry about what other people think to it. I mean, obviously, we all care what people think to some degree, but we don't. What I'm saying is to really try to mold yourself into someone else, to make someone else happy, to fit their idea of who or what you should be, is literally losing yourself and your own identity. It's not. It's a stupid thing to do. And it's unhealthy, psychologically unhealthy, and you're losing the essence of who you are. And so you should be proud of the essence of who you are, whether that's how you look or what you are every day, what you do, how you sound, what you look, whatever, what you do for a living, whatever the essence of you is, whatever that means to you. Be that and be the best that you can be. That's all I got to say about that, I guess. But I think it's incredibly important for people to remember that ultimately you are left with you wherever you go. So if you don't like yourself, and only people who don't like themselves would worry so much about what others think of them in the first place. And I am not saying that it's easy for people to all get there like I have over the past few 5 or 6 years or whatever. It's not that easy to do that, but it does happen with time and with, as I said, introspection. So if you take the time and to do the work on yourself, you'll begin to love yourself regardless. And the only way that you can really not give a fuck what people think is to love yourself in the first place. And I do. And even though I've got people saying I shouldn't because of this or that or whatever reason they think I shouldn't, I really just don't care because I know I'm fucking fabulous. So I just know that. I know all the things I've accomplished in my life and the things I'm doing for the world and the things that I'm trying to achieve in the future add up to someone who's really great, both in heart and spirit and soul, mind. My body could use a little work, but other than that, I'm doing fine. So that's what I wanted to say on the show tonight. And by the way, if you have not heard, I'm sure you have, about Paris, it's really sad what happened in Paris yesterday with the bombings. And I think 120 people or so, more, 120, 160, somewhere between there, I think, died as a result of a major terrorist attack by ISIS. ISIS is a bunch of fucking cowards and never show their faces, and they always do it anonymously, of course. But they are taking responsibility for what happened in Paris. And so you have to be really, really, really grateful that we live in the United States of America, where these things rarely happen. In England and in France and Western Europe in general, it happens far more often than it does here. And so the only real major terrorist attack, major one, was of course 9/11 here. We've had ones previous to that, but most of the time they're from within our own borders, from people like Timothy McVeigh, from the Oklahoma City bombing or the Unabomber or whatever. So usually they're white Anglo-Saxon male men who are doing it here, as opposed to Muslims who do it in Western Europe mostly. So it is a sad thing, but I think it always brings tears to my eyes and makes me I don't know, wispy, because I'm a sentimental sap. When I see the picture of what happened on 9/11 when France heard about what happened here in America, and they have a picture, this huge, enormous American flag laid out with their troops surrounding it and saluting the flag on the day of 9/11 after the terrorist attacks here in America, because France has been our ally since before the Revolutionary War, during the Revolutionary War. And we wouldn't have won our independence from England had it not been for France. And they've been our ally ever since, and we've been theirs. They gave us the Statue of Liberty. And a lot of people are hard on the French because they're not as effusively open initially as Americans are. So when you go there, you may find them to be a little cold initially. That's just a cultural thing. You break through the ice, eventually you'll find their warmth, and if you get to know them, because they're just human like we are, and they're cultural people, and they're just fabulous in general. So it's a fantastic place, especially Paris, of course. So I just wanted to say, je suis Paris, and I am definitely thinking about the people that have died and lost their loved ones over there in France tonight. It's a sad thing. Hopefully that won't ever happen again. So that's all I had to say tonight on the Off Limits show. I just wanted to chime in about what it's like to be a bitch, and how, if you are a bitch, then acknowledge it. And one more thing I should say about that is, there's a difference between being a bitch, because being a bitch who's unkind and uncaring, just to be unkind, mean, and uncaring, versus a bitch, meaning someone who is actually strong and knows who they are, and is someone who's very strong-minded or strong-willed. It's very different things, right? So obviously I'm talking about the latter, not the former version of a bitch here. To be unkind, just to be unkind, mean, to cause harm, or to be a troll is not the definition of a bitch. It's a definition of a coward, a definition of a troll. So there's a huge difference there, and I think there's heartless bitches and there's ones with hearts, and I think I'm the one with a heart. So, all right, so if you want to find out more about me, you can go to offlimitshow.com, and I'll be back next week. I don't know if I'll be back next week. I don't do an Off Limits show very often, but definitely check out the Gay XYZ show, which has myself and Jason and Christian. You can go to gayxyz.com to find out more about our show there. And we are on that show every Tuesday night, like clockwork, at 9 p.m. Central. So be sure to listen to that show. If you want to find out more about that, as I said, go to gayxyz.com. Thank you for listening. I'll be back next week, and have a great night.